And we are back with the fifth and the final segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fifth segment, I'm going to get through all the games that are going to happen today and my prediction for the outcome of these games. And we're going to see if I can go into the games over the weekend and see just how many games I can get right, how many games I'll predict end up being right, and who's going to end up prevailing in each matchup. So, the first game to talk about, the Nets going up against the Orlando Magic. Now, I think the Magic are going to easily win in this game. The Magic are playing at home against a rebuilding Brooklyn Nets team. I don't think that the Nets really have that much offense aside from Cam Thomas that is going to end up being enough to combat against the Orlando Magic. I also don't think they have much of a solid defender to stop Paolo Banchero, and so those are my reasonings for why I think the Magic are going to end up prevailing in this matchup. Now, the next matchup, the Knicks are going to be playing the Pacers at 7:30 on ESPN. That's going to be a primetime game for the NBA. Not sure how many views they're going to get, considering college football is going to be playing around that time as well, I believe. Let me just go ahead and look at their schedule. And actually, no, there isn't going to be much college football happening on today at least. At least all up until 11 p.m. So there might be a lot of people that tune into this Knicks game, and that makes sense considering how Rutgers is going to be playing later on tonight, and a lot of people in the New Jersey area who don't have a sports team are probably going to end up watching the Knicks play basketball. So there is that. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how that matchup plays out. Again, starts at 7:30. I think the Knicks are going to end up prevailing in this game. I feel like there's a lot of animosity and distaste for the Pacers and what the Pacers did to the Knicks in the postseason. I think the home crowd is really going to give the Knicks a lot of a boost in this game, and there's going to be added motivation into wanting to win in this matchup. Now, this is actually one of the matchups that I'm rather unsure about, mainly because I am not confident in Mikal Bridges and his shot, and I also don't know how well Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be able to play in this matchup either. So if there's any game that I see could go the other way, it's going to be this primetime matchup between the Knicks and the Pacers, but my pick is the Knicks to end up winning in this game. Next matchup is the Golden State Warriors going up against the Jazz. I think the Warriors are going to prevail in this matchup against the Jazz. The Jazz, they're not a good team, and they're not the even though they have Lauri Markkanen, the rest of the roster is still a bit iffy. And I think the Warriors and the system that they run with Buddy Hield, and I expect a good game coming in from Steph Curry in this matchup and the rest of the roster. I think the Warriors are going to end up prevailing despite the fact that they're playing in the Jazz's home court. Next game on this list is the 76ers going up against the Toronto Raptors. Now, Joel isn't going to be playing in this matchup. I'm still not sure whether or not Paul George is going to be playing in this matchup, but if Paul George ends up playing, I pick the 76ers. And if he doesn't end up playing in this game, I'd say the Toronto Raptors are going to end up winning this matchup. And the Raptors, they're going to be playing at home, but again, my first and go-to pick is going to be the 76ers. That would be my definitive pick if Paul George is playing. Still unsure whether or not he's going to be ruled out eventually. There were no reports saying that I don't remember seeing a report saying that he was going to be ruled out. But let me just go ahead and just double check again. Again, it's not entirely sure whether or not he's going to be playing, but yeah, there was no report on whether or not he's going to be playing in this matchup or whether or not he's going to be sitting out, at least not to my knowledge. That might be a game time decision. And another decision that I just got a report, 21 minutes. Steph Curry is he participated in an optional shoot-around ahead of Friday's game. He's labeled as questionable for this game on Friday, but still I think the Warriors are going to end up prevailing with or without Steph. But 76ers, I pick them to win if Paul George is playing. If not, I think the Raptors are going to end up winning. And next game on this list is the Lakers going up against the Suns. This one is going to be a little bit of a tough matchup, I do agree. And I think the Lakers are going to end up prevailing. I think it's going to be a bit of a close game, but I feel like the Lakers, they're going to end up winning in this matchup with the offense that they have under JJ Redick. The fact that the Suns don't really have much of a force to stop Anthony Davis when he goes in the post, and let alone stopping LeBron. I don't know if LeBron's going to have a big game or as big of a game as Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is going to dominate in this game more so than LeBron, but regardless, I think the Lakers are going to prevail in this matchup. Next is the Cavs going up against the Pistons. The Cavs are going to win. On to the next game. The Hornets are going to match up against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, Atlanta plays at home, and that's a little bit of a swaying factor for me in picking the Hornets. I'm picking the Hawks over the Hornets. I picked the Hawks over in this game, mainly because they ended up coming back in a game against the Houston Rockets, but I don't think that comeback is going to be repeatable not just for the majority of the season, but in this game. And I feel like the Hawks with Trae Young, they're going to be a little bit more consistent than Charlotte is, which is why I picked the Atlanta Hawks. Not only that, but the fact that they also play at home. The Grizzlies, they're going to match up against the Houston Rockets. I'm picking the Grizzlies in this matchup, and I think it's going to be a really close game going into this. I think that Sengun is going to have a pretty solid game, but I don't think they're going to have much of an answer for Desmond Bane. And I expect Zach Edey to play pretty well, pretty good paint defense when going up against Sengun. And considering how Sengun is more of a post player, this could be Zach Edey's welcome to the NBA moment. But so I'm a little bit shaky on this pick, but I'm going with the Grizzlies on this one. Next, the Bucks. They're matching up against the Chicago Bulls. I think the Bucks are going to win this game. They play at home. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard. No one on the Bulls can really stop Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I mean I don't think anybody in the league can really stop Giannis Antetokounmpo consistently. And Damian Lillard is probably going to have a solid outing in this matchup. I expect the Bucks to end up prevailing in this game. Next, the Pelicans. They're going up against the Portland Trail Blazers. Despite losing DeJounte Murray, I still think that the Pelicans are the favorites in this game, and they should be your pick to win against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers just aren't a good team, and I don't expect them to win in this matchup. And let's see. Can I go over the games that are happening tomorrow? Let's see. Okay. So, the Mavericks, they're going to match up against the Phoenix Suns on Saturday. That's going to be a little bit of a tough game. I think that game is going to be really, really close. But considering how the Suns are going to come off of back-to-back games, I think the Mavericks are going to have a slight edge over the Phoenix Suns. Again, the back-to-back games, it's really, really it's a little bit iffy. And I don't think that Phoenix is going to be able to prevail against the Dallas Mavericks in this matchup. Next, the Lakers, they're going up against the Kings in another back-to-back game. The Lakers, they've played 3 straight home games, I should add. But regardless, I think that the Lakers are going to end up prevailing in this matchup against the Kings. They're a team that takes way more three-pointers than the Kings, and I am done trying to pick the Kings in these matchups, depending on the matchup, of course. But against the Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to prevail. Nuggets, they're going to play the Clippers on Saturday. I think the Nuggets are going to end up beating the Clippers. The Clippers aren't going to play at home in their futuristic sci-fi dome that they've got built up that literally can detect, that has facial recognition in the game. I think the Nuggets are going to end up prevailing in this matchup. And this is going to be a classic Russell Westbrook against James Harden matchup. And not really the main storyline, really, but it is a storyline for this game. I think the Nuggets are going to end up prevailing. Next, Cavs go up against the Wizards. Cavs have a really easy schedule going into this weekend, playing against the Pistons and then the Wizards. They're going to end up beating the Wizards. The Wizards aren't a good team. Cavs are just a much better team. And the Heat, they're going to match up against the Hornets in this game, and the Hornets are going to be coming off of a back-to-back game as well, and I think the Miami Heat are just a much better team. I think the Heat are going to end up winning in this matchup. Celtics are going to easily stomp on the Pistons in this matchup. Jesus, like the Pistons, they do not have an easy schedule, will I say. Then again, none of their schedule seems to be easy. I think the Celtics are going to stomp them completely out of their arena in Detroit. The Thunder, they're also going to stomp the Chicago Bulls in the matchup, and I don't expect the Bulls to really make it much of a competition. I think the Thunder are going to win this game. The Magic against the Grizzlies, that one is a little bit more of an I don't know game. I don't know the result of this game, but I'm going to pick the Orlando Magic in this matchup. And I have real, I didn't do the jingle. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. I think the Magic are just a much better team than the Grizzlies. I feel like the Grizzlies are still going to have a little bit of work to do with the roster, and especially against a playoff contending team in the Orlando Magic. The Timberwolves, they're going to match up against the Raptors. The Raptors are going to be coming off of a back-to-back game, and I feel like the Timberwolves are going to easily prevail in this matchup. Next is the Rockets and the Spurs, the battle in Texas. I think that the Rockets are going to end up prevailing in this game. I have a feeling that Sengun is going to play a little bit better than Victor Wembanyama in this matchup, and I have more faith in the Houston Rockets roster than I do in the Spurs roster. So those are my picks for Saturday's games. Can I go into Sunday games? There are only 5 games on Sunday, so I might as well. The Bucks, they're going to match up against the Nets. I predict that the Bucks are going to easily beat the Nets. Clippers are going to match up against the Warriors. I feel like the Warriors are going to end up winning this matchup considering how they're going to be playing at home, and the Clippers are going to be playing in a back-to-back game. The 76ers, they're going to match up against the Pacers. I have a feeling that the Pacers are going to end up coming out winning this game, and not dependent on whether or not Paul George plays or not, I think the Pacers are going to end up winning. And the lack of Joel Embiid is really, really, really making it easy on these 76ers games, and we'll see how the investigation of his injury and his lack of playing really is going on. Next is the Pelicans going up against the Trailblazers. Pelicans are going to beat the Trailblazers. Next game, the Thunder, they're going to match up against the Hawks. It's probably going to be a little bit closer than a lot of people think, but I think that the Thunder are going to end up prevailing in this matchup. Regardless of the fact that they're going to be playing back-to-back games, this is a relatively young team. And in fact, the youngest team to ever make the 1 seed. So I don't think the back-to-back games are going to affect the Thunder as much as they're going to affect the rest of these other games and the rest of the other teams that I've mentioned coming off of a back-to-back, and especially a team again like the Hawks. So I have a feeling that the Thunder are going to end up winning in this matchup. So those are all my predictions. We'll see just how accurate I am, how inaccurate I am towards the end of the weekend. And that's all that towards Monday, I should say, when I come back and I do these segments. But that's all that I have for the 5th segment. That's it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. As usual, we love to hear what you guys have to say during the show, whether you guys have a hot take, burning question, something that you've just been dying to share. We're all ears. If you really want your comment or question to get noticed, then I recommend using Super Chat. You just click on the $ below the chat box and you can send in your comments and or donations that way. If Super Chat's not really your thing, that's okay. You can always use the link displayed below the ticker on every show segment, gsmcpodcast.net, and you can send in your comments and or donations that way. And really helps the show, both of which are going to be, if you do comment on either or, your comment will be featured on the show. It's going to be guaranteed to get featured on the show. And that's all that I have to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Nelson. Enjoy the weekend that's full of sports, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't want